So close, close up to not good. Hanging on by thread. She was doing autocrat. Okay. Yeah, boy, girl, summer, winter, and then five behind you. And get some bags like that. Sam, let me give you her. All right, yeah. Put the bite,
Good morning. We're going to get started. My name is Danielle. I'm a licensed professional counselor, and I'm here with NOLA Black Mental Health Matters. Today we're going to talk about mental health and self-awareness. So just a few things. First, I would like for everybody to introduce themselves and kind of talk about, give me your name, give me one interesting thing that you love to do, like for self-care, and tell me something that improves your mental health. Can everybody do that? Yes. All right. No particular order. Whoever wants to start can start.
Hey, my name is Tamel Hookfin. I'm 25 and I just made 25. What I like to do is, because I suffer from depression, anxiety, and different things like that, what I do on my off time, I like to go on a lake and just color or write in my journal, or I'll write something down and ball it up or rip it up or write on a glass and throw it on a lake like to break, like, you know, I just trying to find different ways to handle my depression and my anxiety. But my daughter is like autistic as well, and you know, it's kind of hard for me because I am a single mother, so I try to find any ways to keep myself calm. Like I got a job to keep my mind busy, and that's about it.
Hi everyone, my name is Danielle Burton. I'm a licensed professional counselor and I'm 1/3 of the leadership team of NOLA Black Mental Health Matters. Mental health was already not a value, if you would, for politics just broadly. So to that end, a lot of us are either leaving the field from burnout because we're being underpaid, which means you got to take on more clients, which also means you have to start taking insurance if that's not what you were doing, which is a lot of bureaucratic red tape for a lot of people. So, you know what I mean? You have to change the way you're doing your work. That's one. You're changing your response to your work as well, because maybe you were doing a certain kind of modality that insurance wouldn't necessarily reimburse. Now you've got to pick something that's CBT or something that's like evidence-based. When in real life, the evidence is not normed for the people that we see. Most of the evidence, when they say evidence-based practice, it's normed on white men. Stereotypically, statistically, that's not who comes to therapy. And here in this city, that's absolutely not who comes to therapy, just statistically speaking. So you're asking me to use something that's evidence for a population I'm not seeing. And I'm doing it because I have to be reimbursed, because I have to make money, because I'm now caught up in the system where I need to do it this way in order to see what I need as a human being. So it's really an imposition on the way that we're doing our work, and it's also an imposition on the art that is doing therapy. You know, the way I work is not the way the next person works. So when we're all told to do it in one particular way, it to me means that there's an outcome that people want to see, and they're not being explicit about that. So I don't know what that end is, but I do know that as therapists embrace evidence-based practice, as they embrace larger caseloads, the quality of the work is going to decrease. And it's not just me, there's research for this, you know? So I think that there's that, you know what I mean? People are suffering, probably don't know they're suffering because they're doing the right thing by coming to therapy, but it's maybe not the best therapy you could have gotten if we were in a different socio-political situation.
they will be sorted over here.
No, you can sort it, but the
And then you can put like a separate.
so we put them with jam on them. If you put drug or whatever, you know, they're looking. I'm gonna give you a bin.
Okay. There's a thing for this.
So, do you want or me?
My name is Keisha Plessy. I am part of Love Your Neighbor NOLA. I'm a director here. We are located in New Orleans East, very intentionally to be part of the New Orleans East community and to provide resources, both tangible and intangible, supportive services to families in New Orleans East. We open our office twice a month to have the community come in and participate in what we call community resilience workshops. And what that looks like is we collaborate with NOLA Black Mental Health Matters therapists who come and provide, they facilitate workshops talking about mental health topics. So talking about stress, talking about trauma. We are in a neighborhood that experiences a high rate of crime, high violence. And so we really want to, and we know that part of that experience is also generational cycles of trauma, violence, community violence. And so we really want to have a space, a healing space where families can come, get some information that might be helpful for them about mental health, connect with other community members, people in other moms, other caregivers in their neighborhood. And so they participate in that class for around an hour. And then after, we're able to provide them with supplies. So we give them diapers, wipes, clothes, shoes, strollers, car seats, whatever they might need. And that purpose of having both the tangible and the intangible is that we think that if our families are able to really move away from kind of a scarcity mindset of, you know, I can't focus on anything because I need diapers or I need supplies for my kids or I need food. If they have those basic needs met, they're able to really focus more on like learning from the mental health classes, thinking about, you know, accessing more supportive resources.
What has been the feedback from the very first event to now, like as far from the people who attend the workshop? Like,
we've been getting a lot of good feedback, a lot of insightful feedback in the sense that people are learning about mental health. And as we're learning about what's new for them, it's sharpening the way that we're able to develop content. So like even today, talking about self-awareness in terms of mental health is new for people. Of course, everybody knows you need to know yourself and know like what's normal for you in order to know that something's not quite right. But at the same time, I think a lot of people don't talk about self-awareness inherently to understand how to build it, how to cultivate it, and how to respond to yourself in that way too. So to that end, all the feedback that we get, we use and we kind of recycle it in a way that makes sense. Maybe we're not explicitly addressing it, but we heard it, we're synthesizing, and we're creating our content according to what people are asking. Not only to talk about self-awareness, but to talk about the ways that we see ourselves, the ways other people see ourselves, and also what it looks like for us to transition through those different phases of self. Because we're different, right? We're different people to ourselves than we are to other people. We're different people to ourselves in certain situations than we are in other situations. And it's normal to be that way as well. But knowing yourself and knowing the parts of yourself that are a little bit more constant helps you identify when things aren't exactly what you expect. So let's reflect a little bit. Let's talk about the things we've just done. What surprised you about doing this exercise? Anybody at all?
It was hard.
It was hard. You're right. This is something I do a lot, not only with like individual clients, but with like industrial clients. So sometimes I do organizational consulting. And so we do this to build leadership skills and talk about like skill development and things like that. Everybody has the same feedback. It is hard. So if you don't mind, would you tell us why you found it hard? I saw y'all get to.
It's really knowing yourself. Something you don't want to, know about yourself, but then
It's true.
doing this type of exercise, it makes you think about it. I'm the type of person, I don't like the truth type stuff, but you know, it's good for you once you do hear the truth.
That's true. That's true. And I think, especially in situations like that, where there's a lot of stuff that maybe you don't know about yourself, it's important to be honest and say, I don't know this about myself. You know what I mean? Because that's how you grow. That's when you identify a place for you to do something new. So definitely, I agree with that. For sure.
one of the unique things I saw is you offer childcare on site. How beneficial do you think that is to really give these moms a break when they come and to learn and like get these resources for themselves?
Yeah, I think it again goes into like supporting the entire family, and recognizing that there are so many needs one caregiver has to meet at one time. And so we recognize that, not everybody has a support system, not everybody has childcare. And so we want it to be a space where a family feels comfortable coming and the kids have fun. And a lot of what we also see is that a lot of caregivers, they don't get out that much. And so even the classes are really helpful for the caregiver, but I think they also look forward to it for their kids because their kids get to interact with other kids. They're in a safe environment, someone's watching them, and parents can kind of just, you know, be in their own space with other parents and kind of just focus on themselves.
I mean, it's challenging. Yeah, I mean, and we welcome the kids as well because to me that's really natural and organic.
Okay.
But at the same time, I think moms in particular have this expectation that everything needs to stop for them to learn. And I don't think that that's true. I think that the world goes on. I think that we're able to prioritize whatever we're doing. But as long as we're able to create pockets for ourselves, we're able to use that skill differently. So maybe when you have more time to yourself, you can revisit the things we've talked about today. Maybe something came up as your kid was coming in the room and it helped you to pay attention. You know what I mean? So I kind of see the kids moving in and out and doing their own thing as like natural cues and also natural parts of the environment. So I don't try to work against them per se.
Do you think it's beneficial to have kids in such close proximity to like mental health professionals and like learning these techniques to like alleviate certain stressors? Do you think it kind of trickles down to the kids seeing that their parents are out here doing things?
Yeah, I think that is the hope, right? Is that, you know, we know that to support the caregivers, to support the family. A lot of kids have big feelings, big emotions, and parents want to help them through that. But if they don't necessarily know how to do it for themselves, it's hard for them to model it and to help their kids. And so, we think it's really beneficial for the caregiver to focus on techniques to regulate themselves and to make themselves feel less stressed and deal with their big emotions so that they can model and help their kids through that. And one of our goals is to expand our programming so that we can have more mental health focused activities for kids.
People are more willing to share, people are more willing to participate because there's a, I guess, natural level of skepticism that comes along with talking about mental health. And so when people learn more about mental health, the fact that everything doesn't have to be serious, everything doesn't have to be like consequential, we can have conversations where people are learning or where they're fostering a different level of awareness.
It's been one of the most rewarding things from starting your work that you've gotten from helping these families and being this close to them.
I think there's so many. I think the one that I can pick right now is just like, we have parents who have been coming to us for years, like 3 years. And we have noticed that when we consistently show up and are consistently there, they're really starting to open up to us about kind of what their needs are and also have really started to, I think, like, start to really engage in our services. And so I think what's most rewarding is that we're having families who are not only really growing in themselves as parents, but they're also growing as community members because they're starting to like come back and volunteer or to donate their own stuff from their community. And that's really what we want. We're not here to just like pour, you know, just to give to the community and like, oh, let us help you. But we love that they're creating a community for themselves and they're coming back and creating a community here. So
you think about all the things that are changing and you think about everything that we're losing, gaining, depending on how you look at it. There is a disproportionate response from different socioeconomic levels of society. And so people who are poor, people who do not have access to certain things, they're going to be impacted in a way that's a lot more severe than people with more access, more resources, more capital, things like that. So of course, the most vulnerable populations remain unprotected.